Hi everyone, thank you for joining our June Top Producers Panel webinar. In this 55-minute webinar, you will hear from 4 of America's top real estate professionals. Closing over $100 million in 2014 alone, these real-life industry experts will share some of the best tips, tricks, business practices, and marketing strategies they've used to succeed in the real estate business. With that being said, we have Allison James Estates and Homes agents Troy Funk out of Florida, Joran and Lisa Force in California, and Doug Fisher from Washington State on today's panel. We will be asking a variety of questions to today's panelists. Please feel free to type in your own questions into the questions box, and we will go over those at the end of today's webinar. Also joining us today is Jeff Jabora, National Director of Growth and Development with Allison James Estates and Homes, and Shelley Hoyseth, Senior Loan Officer with our preferred lender, Movement Mortgage. Jeff, would you like to begin?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I am excited to be here. There is a wealth of knowledge on this webinar today. Huge top producers, just a wealth of knowledge once again. So I'm very excited to tune in and see what I can learn from these agents as well. To let you know who I am, my name is Jeff Jabora. I am the National Director of Growth and Development here at Allison James Estates and Homes. And what I do is speak with agents across the country who are interested in learning more about our brokerage and keeping 100% of their commission. We do have plans that cater to agents of all levels of production, and I'd love to speak with you about it. My contact information is here on the slide. Please feel free to give me a call or send me an email after the presentation. Love to speak with you more about our brokerage and how you too can keep 100% of your commission. Without further hesitation, I'd like to turn it over to Shelley Hoyseth, a Senior Loan Officer with Movement Mortgage.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Shelley.
And the Force team and Doug and everyone, Victoria. Hi, everyone out there in Allison James. It is a pleasure to be with you all this morning. I wanted to talk a little bit. I know you've got top producers on the panel. So one thing that I have noticed when I'm working with top producers and top producer teams is that they do always have a team in place. And even if you're just one agent and don't have multiple agents underneath you or TCs and assistants and all of that, you still can have a team by having a preferred lender, title and escrow, inspectors, other vendors. And I think all the top producers will tell you that having the team up front and establishing that in the very beginning with especially buyers is very important in having everybody on the same page. So I just wanted to chat real quick because the market is moving so quickly right now about making sure that you get your buyers approved ahead of time. So many of you have heard me say and know that we do fully underwrite our files even before they find a property. So I want to talk a little bit about the different terms that are out there: pre-qual, pre-approve, conditional approve, and what does all that mean, just briefly. A pre-qual, which might be a letter that you'll see from a bank or credit union or any other just random lender. If it's simply a pre-qual, they have probably taken a phone call or seen someone in person, pulled their credit, and are giving your best guess that it's going to be okay. A pre-approval, while sometimes a pre-approval letter may actually say on it pre-qualification, that's just for lawyer type terms. An actual pre-approval would be where I would review all the documentation, have a full file ready to go. I pulled their credit. I've run the automated AUS system, which is the Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac approval system. From there, then we submit the file to underwriting, and we do that whether or not they have a property lined up. We submit it to underwriting, get conditional approval. As you know, that means that underwriting has reviewed it and they've sent the list of conditions. So sometimes between conditional approval and final approval, you've got your lending contingency deadline in there. So our goal is to have all of the conditions in and cleared within 7 business days of when we submit the file. So I really encourage you to assist with the lender in encouraging your clients to get their conditions in upfront and early, even if they're not closing for 60 days or even if they don't have a property. because the files that are having the most challenges are the ones that have a lot of missing or moving parts, and they're rushing into escrow because they don't want to lose out on that perfect house, and then all of a sudden things are getting dicey because they didn't get their conditions in, or the conditions are changing, or there's just multiple things that can come up. So get them in early, have a conversation with your buyer up front, encourage them that it's to their benefit to talk with your preferred lender, and of course I would love to be that person. If nothing else, just to be educated, to learn their options, etc. As I said, we do have the 7-day clear to close goal, which means we want to have everything in and conditions approved within the 7 days. And 70% of the time that happens, and having a borrower that is on top of it and cooperative will make all the difference. So one more thing I just wanted to add is that the CFPB changes, also known as TRID, you've probably heard these talked about simultaneously. TRID means TILA RESPA Integrated Disclosure Rule. So that's what's going into effect in August. So your buyers that are out there looking now may very well end up being subject to these new rules. We're going to talk about this more specifically on the webinar in July, and I believe that it is July 17th, maybe, or 15th. I think Victoria can give you specifics
July
on that.
15th.
July 15th. So be on that webinar if you haven't been able to do one of the seminars in person. Even if you have, it'll be a refresher course, and I'll be going through the breakdown of TRID and letting you know how exciting that will be for you and your clients. So if you have any lending questions or thoughts as you go, you can send them in to Victoria, and she will forward them to me, and or just call, email directly, and I will be happy to help you. So with that, I will pass the torch over to Victoria.
Perfect. Thank you, Shelley. Okay, and now we're going to jump into the questions for our top producers. Again, if anyone has any questions, please type those into the questions box, and we will be reviewing those at the end of the webinar. So to start off, our first question is for Troy Funk. Troy, it has been said that real estate is a 24/7 career. How do you feel about that statement?
Well, it's somewhat of a ridiculous statement, because obviously working 24/7 is not a sustainable business model, and yet I've tried it. It's hard because when your business keeps growing, you want to keep up, and there's a point where you just can't do it. You need help. I had the pleasure of actually speaking with Jorn Foss when I was in California a few months ago, and the biggest takeaway I got from him was that I have to stop working in my business and start working on my business. And from that, when I went back to Sarasota, we immediately increased our office space and hired more people, and it was a good decision. I mean, the success in our business is about running a business. If you operate your business like a business, that has a lot more power than trying to kill yourself working 24/7.
Perfect. That's great that you reached out to Jorn as well.
Well, he does about 5 times my production, so he's definitely a mentor of mine.
That's great. Okay, perfect. Our next question is for Jorn and Lisa Force. How long have you been in real estate, and how long did it take you to feel comfortable in the business?
Hi, this is Lisa. We've been doing it, or I've been in it for about 13 years. Jorn joined me just a couple years later, so we've both been in it in the trenches, both feet on the ground for quite a while. But for me personally, it took me only a few months to kind of start feeling comfortable with it, and it's not because I had experience. You know that old saying, fake it till you make it? That works, but in the same breath, we went in it, a girlfriend and I actually ended up in real estate together at the same time, and we went in with our literally on the ground running. We were doing open houses, as many open houses as we could right out of the gate. And if I could give you any advice, if there's any new agents here listening, there is such a thing as people talking around the water cooler, and I'm not joking. The very first Tuesday we went in for a meeting, there was a girl standing literally at the water cooler while we were waiting to get tea, and she said to us, "Oh, you guys are newbies." She goes, "It's going to take 6 months before you earn any income." Those were not our goals, and you'll hear us talk about setting goals in this webinar, but those were not our goals. So our goals were to make money immediately. we actually, in 30 days, because we had already been up and running on open houses, we had closed 3 in the very first 30 days. So you got to set your goal, set for it. Whatever you do now happens, the results happen 45 days from now. So be prepared to work hard, is, I guess, would be my best advice there.
Perfect. Great answer. Thank you, Lisa. And Doug, is there a daily routine that you follow? I'm sorry.
Well, hi there. Yeah, I think early on when I started getting really busy, I found myself reacting to every phone call, feeling like when the phone rang at 7:30 a.m., I had to answer it because I didn't want to miss a deal, or maybe it was somebody important I had to talk to. And what I kind of learned right away to get my sanity was just take that time, exactly like Troy said, to work on the business and just kind of get my day scheduled. So what I would do is, and what I still do, is I just take that time, whether it's 7 to 8 in the morning or 9 to 10 in the morning. So I've got 3 little ones that always kind of try to grab my attention to get off to school. So sometimes getting an early start is better, and then just get everything scheduled. Look ahead to what I know is coming up. If I've got closings coming up, if I've got phone calls I have to make, just get them on the schedule, put them in Outlook if I have to, and just make sure that I know exactly what's ahead of me. And sometimes that's just a piece of notebook paper and just writing out 10 things that I know I have to get done. That way I've got a kind of a purpose, and a schedule for the day.
Exactly. Great. Okay, our next question, we're going to go back to Troy Funk now. Troy, have you used any coaching programs in the past which you thought were helpful in building your real estate career?
Well, I'm going to go a little off topic with this. Yeah, I'm a big believer in coaching. I actually have a personal trainer that comes to my house twice a day or twice a week. So he wakes me up twice a week, and the next thing I'm doing is I have a chef that's going to make all my food for the next week, so I know what I'm going to be eating. So I try to stay disciplined health-wise, which keeps me strong mentally and keeps me alert. As far as coaching real estate-wise, I just came back from a Tom Ferry seminar in Orlando, and I think the guy was awesome. I followed his father, Mike, way back when, so it kind of dates me, but coaching is important because we just don't have all the resources, and it's just like working out. If the doorbell wasn't ringing at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm just not going to run. I'm not going to do 20 push-ups, and I'm not going to do 50 sit-ups. But if someone else is there and they're guiding me and they're giving me the support, it gives me the encouragement to do that. And same with real estate. There's a lot of different coaches out there, but the one that I've seen that I think makes a lot of sense is Tom Ferry.
Great. Okay, and back to Joran and Lisa. What do you do to stay motivated?
Okay, first, thanks so much, Troy, for the nice comments. This is Joran Fors. And real quick, before I answer the question, I just want to say Lisa and I, we manage a small team. We have 9 buyer's agents, 3 listing agents, 2 inside sales, and support. And we are doing 100% traditional sales. We don't do any REOs, short sales, new builders, or large investment companies or groups. So we just do the regular traditional sellers. And what we do to stay motivated, we have the team weekly meetings where we have accountability meetings. We check the sales. How many sales did you put in pending? How many did you close? We go around the room. Everybody shares their story, what was good, what was bad, what was wonderful this week, and help each other. How would you have done it differently? And so everybody learns. And then we have different contests. Other thing we do is we set big goals. What is that you want out of this business? And what do you want to accomplish? For us, Lisa and I, we wanted a beach house. We wanted a certain car. We wanted to have paid all our kids' education. And we wanted a certain number of dollars in our accounts for financial independence. And we have actually achieved that. And a lot of thanks back to Allison James, who allowed us to keep most of the commission, which made us possible to accomplish these goals. Lisa and I, we are the team leader, and we measure ourselves. We dominate our local market. I mean, we do a lot of business in our local market, but we measure ourselves not against any local agents, but against the best teams in the nation. And we go to different mastermind conferences where we sit down with similar teams that have similar production, similar challenges and opportunities. And and we are often one of the speakers at different conferences too. We also look at the Wall Street Journal ranking. We submit our application to them. We were number 212 last year in the nation, and we expect to be about top 100 this year. The results are coming out on June 26th. We closed 125 million last year. And one more thing, yeah, so we attend conferences and different things to pick up new ideas, and we always try to implement 3 new things. So you have to follow through. It's easy to go to a conference, learn a bunch of stuff, but then you just put it on the shelf. Implement 2 or 3 things. That's all for that one.
Thank you, Göran. Okay, Doug Fisher, what is your usual response time on leads?
You know, I think there's different philosophies about, responding to leads, and of course we want to be very responsive, and if we can get back to a lead within 5 to 15 minutes, I think that's a realistic goal. But I also think getting back to a lead from, I think, a point of strength, so that you are the professional, because if we're managing a lot of listings, it's important to know the details about our own listing. So if a client calls, leaves a message, hey, I want to see this condo, I'm going to look that condo up first. I'm going to make sure I know exactly what the status is, make sure I've got the details in my mind. But I'm also going to pull just a couple of quick, maybe comparables around there, so I can sort of just on the fly be that expert. A lot of times I already know that information, but just to make sure, like I said, I'm coming back from a point of strength, I'm going to do that. So, I think it's really important to get back to a lead right away. But picking up the phone, I think sometimes right away and responding can actually hurt you a little bit. So I think stepping back a little bit and looking at it is very helpful.
Okay, great. Now we're going back to Troy. Troy, what kind of advertising are you doing, and which is working best?
Yeah, I don't spend any money on advertising. This business is a relationship business for me, and one thing I will spend money on, though, is I'll fly out to Salt Lake City without an agenda and start meeting with my asset managers. In our market, most of my business is all REO, so the relationships with the key people is important. So it's where I put my focus, is in developing relationships that give me business. And with the volume of business we have, right now we have about 130 properties that are either active, pre-list, or in process, sell pending. So we have a lot of volume, and these are really good value properties. So we have more than enough buyers. Advertising would just be a wasted expense, or I believe so anyway. So I don't spend any money in advertising. I put it more into building relationships.
Wow, okay, great. Thank you, Troy. Göran and Lisa, how important do you feel online reviews are?
This is Göran Fors again. I'm taking this one. I think it's very, very important. The trend, the overall trend is that consumers, they actually go on the internet now and research the company or the service that they're considering using. You already see it today, especially in California. People are using Yelp or TripAdvisor for restaurants and hotels, and more of those people are starting to use it for real estate as well. So we have focused very hard on that, making sure we get reviews. We ask our clients for reviews for after the transactions, and the best part of our processes for our team. And for example, this year we expect to do about 500 transactions, but not all of them will respond, but maybe half of them, if you push them or incentivize them just to respond. And it also helps, if you have reviews, it helps the ranking with different websites. For example, Zillow, they rank very much. A big factor for the ranking is the number of reviews. And on Zillow, we actually have 300 reviews posted on Zillow. And if you get a bad review, don't stress out about it. Take a few minutes, think about what they wrote, and then make a public response, and then move on. If you have a bunch of good ones, it doesn't matter if you get a couple of bad reviews, because you're going to get bad reviews from the general public. Some people, they are unrealistic, and it doesn't matter if you set the expectation, they're going to still be disappointed. But if you have a bunch of good ones, that will compensate for the bad reviews. And also, many technologies, many websites, they base their ranking on reviews. For example, Siri. Siri, if you use an iPhone and ask for a real estate agent in a certain town, Siri how are you gonna depend? I mean, determine which is a good agent? Well, they go back to Yelp, and based on Yelp, they recommend a certain agent. All right.
Would you say?
Can I just add one? Can
Of
I add
course.
just one quick little thing? When he talks about the bad reviews, there is no such thing as a bad review, even though it may be negative in content. A bad review just shows the consumer how real your reviews are. Because it's just, I mean, if you're looking up something and you're going to go shopping somewhere, going to go eat at a restaurant, if they had all good reviews, at some point you got to think, huh, who loaded this one? And Yelp, it's just not possible. Those are true, real-life reviews that you're getting from consumers. You have no way to adjust them. You have no way to correct them, except for to make a public response. So there is no such thing as a bad review. Even bad reviews are good because it gives the consumer the confidence and makes them feel more confident about going to your restaurant or having your service because they know that people really do. Nobody's perfect.
One more comment on that. I just received a bad review yesterday from somebody that said that they tried to reach out to us twice. We haven't contacted them back. And I said, I found it very difficult to how that could have happened because we have a dedicated inside sales team that answer the phone all the time, or 97% of the time they answer the phone or they call back within 5 minutes. And so I'm just using that negative remark to highlight, here's actually what we are doing. So use it to your advantage.
Exactly, so you can turn that around. Great, thank you for that. Okay, we're going to move on to Doug. What kind of advertising are you doing and which is working the best?
You know, our business runs a lot like Troy's. We're predominantly REO sales. We do maintain, a retail team so that we can capture traditional sales, and we have moved into trying to leverage a lot of the sales that we have, into traditional listings and traditional buyer leads. So for the most part, we don't need to advertise a lot because we have enough of a market presence that people looking in the area are going to come across our name and come across our property. However, I do have my marketing person who basically her job is to make sure we have good photos and to make sure that we have quality descriptions, and we're trying to make sure we market our REO properties in the same way that somebody running a traditional sale would. But when she comes in, she does at least one day a week run all of our listings through Craigslist, which isn't super hard to do. Once you have an account, you can create it and refresh it multiple times a week. And we're actually finding even something as simple as Craigslist, which is free, does produce some leads. I'm getting probably 3 to 5 leads a week just through Craigslist. And we've also just had some basic farming going. When we sell something, we're going to market out to 100 of the neighbors that we sold it. We've got a nice listing coming up. We're going to market that out, to whatever the radius is in that area. And we do find that, the lead capture on that is actually pretty decent because we've got enough of a presence. People have seen our signs in the neighborhood, over the course of the last 5 years. So there is a little bit of brand recognition there with Allison James, which, is a fairly new entity in the Seattle market. But for the most part, not spending a lot of money on advertising, but when we do, it's really targeted at the listings that we're selling.
Wonderful. Thank you, Doug. Okay, back to Troy. Troy, are you a part of any meetup or networking groups?
I have several that I attend. One is Wealth Builders in our area, which is a real estate investment group. And there's many different spin-offs on that, and that's a real estate investment perspective for people that are looking to buy and sell property. And the other group that I attend, I have a friend that makes $1 million a year in our area buying and selling properties. And what's interesting is he doesn't even live in our area. He travels a lot. So he had a mastermind group that I attended, and I focus on relationships. So I go after relationships that are going to be conducive to the focus of what I'm trying to accomplish. And real estate is my passion, so anything to do with real estate, I'm normally involved. If there's something outside of the scope of my business that's real estate that doesn't necessarily attract all the other realtors, I'm usually there.
Great. Okay, thank you, Troy. Next, Joran and Lisa, do you have a goal structure?
We actually have a multi-level goal structure, and I think any successful business, whether it's real estate or otherwise, has that in place. You get a business plan, you set your business plan in October for the next year. You set all your goals for the next year based on that business plan. What we do is, you know, Göran spoke earlier about motivating the team. We have a lot of team building events. We socialize a lot with our team. We set small goals for them. We start with really large goals, like their reach goals, and then we set realistic goals, and then we set small mini goals that will eventually lead to those the reach goals. So for us, we set company goals and team goals and individual agent goals, and we do all that at the beginning of the year. We have a team trip every year where the team can earn a trip to go on an all-inclusive trip with everybody. We all get together, whoever earns it, and all of our goals are surrounded around that. So we've tried so many different methods because we do network with the top 100 agents in the nation on a regular basis. We get all of their feedback on what works on their teams and what doesn't work, and we've tried things and we've shared things the same back with them. This works for us. You know, just like holding a carrot and letting people know, this is, if you want the carrot, you're really, really hungry and you want this carrot, here's what we need to get there. But they can't get there unless you set those goals for them, or you do it yourself. So if you're an agent, setting your big monthly goals and then weekly goals, your daily goals, just like Troy's saying, and Doug mentioned, when you're getting up every day and setting your daily goals, it's a feeling of accomplishment. You can literally draw a line through that goal and say, okay, goal accomplished. Now, it may be something as simple as, you know, I don't know, checking your emails this morning and responding to 2 emails you needed to from the night before. That's totally achievable. But once you mark it off, there's that sense of accomplishment. You won't feel that overwhelming, you know, like you're underwater. For us, setting goals is the key to our business. That's how we grow. Göran has big, audacious goals every year for our company, you know, our team. And so we take those goals and we funnel them down to our assistant even, to figure out how we're going to reach those goals. That's what we do every month, week, and day.
I can add a comment too, and then we hold the team accountable to it,
Mm-hmm.
and we have never had anybody leave our team, but we have released some people if they can't keep up with the minimum goal, and for us it's to sell at least 2 houses per month. That's the minimum goal.
So that goal structure is very important.
Yes.
Or overall, each one of their individual goals, they set their own goals. They come in and tell us, what do you think? We ask them because we have a meeting with them at the beginning of or actually at the end of every quarter, end of every year for the following year. And we ask them, what are your goals this year? How much money do you want to make this year? And then we break down their goals. Okay, well, in order to make this amount of money, you need to do this many, you need to reach this many leads, this many appointments, and close this many deals. So, and there's a whole hierarchy to all that as well. So if they do that, then we go to each one of our agents, we set up each one of their individual goals just like that, and then we say, okay, well, based on all of your opinions, your reach goals total for the team are this, your manageable goals are this, your daily goals are this, and now that means our team goal, we'll take their reach goal and we'll kick it up a little bit. So, because we know that every time we have reach goals, this team just knocks it out of the ballpark, and so we know that we have to push the envelope a little bit higher if we want them to reach that higher goal, because they're really, really hard workers, and I know they all have big whys, like why they're doing what they're doing, and so we try to help them achieve their goals by reaching our team goals.
Perfect. Thank you, Göran and Lisa. Okay, Doug, how many times a day or week do you post on social media, and do you use it to promote your listings?
You know, I'm probably not the right person to comment on social media. I believe it has a place, and I believe there's a lot of agents that are probably using it successfully. On my end, I have a website. It has social media integration. So every listing we put up, post to my business Facebook page, and once in a while I'll get a like or a comment, and if I happen to check it, I'll respond to it. I know it supposedly tweets out every listing that we have. Again, I'm not savvy enough, or maybe young enough or cool enough to really understand the benefits of social media as it relates to real estate. But one of the goals I have is, I know Sheila, who handles a lot of these things through Allison James Corporate, she's committed to helping me figure out a better way to do it and kind of take that job and put it on somebody else's plate in my office because, honestly, I don't see it, but I know there's value to it, and I don't want to just disregard it. So basically, long answer to your question is I don't at all. It's done for me through my website. Otherwise, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I can add some comments to it. This is Göran Fors. We use social media quite a lot, but we have a team page, a Team Force, on our Facebook. I think we have over 2,500 likes and followers right now on Facebook, and then we use Twitter and LinkedIn, but we don't abuse it. We don't put every listing there. We put maybe one listing per week. We put when we get a fantastic review, we might put it, not over abuse it, because then will people be turned off. If I post a listing every day, then we post a new listing, that will be boring. And then we hired a company to provide content, pretty interesting content, and it's cheap. It's one company that we use is called Back at You, and they charge $39, and they post a marketing piece or a content piece that is relevant for the real estate or for the homeowner or home seller once a day or so. But we post about 20, 30 posts per week on our Facebook page, and then we do some Facebook advertising too. For example, we are endorsed by a celebrity, Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank, and we promote that. We do Facebook ads to all the people that are on Facebook and mark themselves with considering selling or considering moving. They get that ad on there, and then we also do retargeting. Everybody that has been visiting our website, we're following them on the internet, whether they go to Yahoo or search for something else. We show up there a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, so we keep close to them. That's kind of a couple of comments what we do with social media.
That retargeting means we're showing up on the right side of the page on their Facebook page.
Okay. So what you would suggest is not overdoing it with your listings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every market has a different market. Every market's different. But for us personally, we've chosen to make it more of a community kind of site where we're doing more information and more educational. And yes, we throw in a listing here and there. I've seen others where they just do listings and it's also really successful. So I don't know that there's one right or wrong way to do it. That's just the way we do it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Doug, and thank you, Göran and Lisa. Now back to Troy. What 3 tips would you recommend to agents who are trying to build their real estate business, which helped you build yours?
I think that answer might be different for everyone else depending on their market. But I'm going to go back and reflect on probably when the market crashed in our area. It was bad, and I mean I had to start from ground zero, and I went from basically no sales to 100 sales in 1 year. So in that time period, I've had a lot of real estate experience, but I was focused more on investing. So when that didn't work, went back into real estate, and the things that I did right off the bat with my experience and going back in the business and saying, okay, now I'm going to make it big in real estate again. First thing I did was hire an assistant, because I knew with the volume of business that I was focused on getting, I was going to quickly run out of hours. So I got an assistant. Even if I couldn't afford an assistant, I got an assistant. That was priority number 1. The other priority was looking at where the business was. At that time, the market was so bad that there were more properties being sold at the courthouse steps than what was being sold in MLS. So I realized I had to make connections with banks, and I started flying out to different locations and meeting them, not at the conventions, but meeting them outside of the scope where all the other realtors would solicit them, and developed relationships and focused on where's the business being handled and how do I develop those relationships. I would think for a different area, if you don't have REO, you have to look at where is the business being handled. You have to develop those relationships. That's the second focus. And then the third thing that was very successful was I spent a lot of time on Google and YouTube just studying websites and focused on how I can get my own websites going. And through WordPress and themes, I was able to develop multiple websites with the keyword Sarasota short sale. So when you Google Sarasota short sale, I was all over the board, and there were multiple sites, there were multiple reviews, and I got a ton of business from that. And what's interesting is I haven't blogged in probably 4 years, and I still get about a call a week from somebody wanting to short sell their property with me just from all the attention that I gave that. I think blogging dollar for dollar doesn't cost a lot of money, but if you're starting out in the business and you don't have a lot of cash, learn everything you can about blogging. That's something that's certainly been very effective for me.
Great tips. Thank you, Troy. Okay, and the same question for Joran and Lisa. What 3 tips would you recommend to agents who are trying to build their real estate business, which helped you build yours?
You know, Shelley kind of hit the nail on the head right out of the gate there and said you have to align yourselves. You have to, when you're a new agent, or whether you're building it or you're already established and building a team, either way, you need to align yourself with an affiliate team that has the same goals that you do. A lender, an escrow company, an inspector, a home warranty, whatever. You need to build that team and have that referral base to be able to reach back and forth to one another. It has to be treated as a full-time job when you do it as well, because you don't want to let your affiliate down either. You want to be able to provide really good home base for your affiliate to be doing business with someone. So make sure you set all of your goals, whether it's monthly, weekly, daily, however you're going to do, break it down to the details and be consistent with everything. Our big thing is we do answer leads within 5 minutes. Sometimes, yeah, Doug is absolutely right. You do not always have the information, and it is good to have that information when you can. But sometimes just reaching out within that 5 minutes and saying, hey, got your message. I will call you right back. I'll call you back in 10 minutes. I just happen to be in a meeting and I want to finish up. Just to let them know you got it, because if you don't, someone else will. And there's a Harvard study that Joran can mention. You know what I mean? That if it's substantially greater the quicker you call back, whether you have an information form or not. Sometimes it's just about connecting. And then probably my third one would be to network with those that you wish to emulate. You really want to don't network with the people that are doing less than you, or even maybe the same amount as you. You want to network with people that are doing your goals, where you want to be, because those are the people you want to learn from. And sometimes those people are learning stuff from you that they have forgotten or they need to get back to basics on. So it's usually a good, reciprocal relationship. But networking with someone that you want to emulate would be one of my best ones.
I can add a few more comments to that. And find out what you really like to do. You can specialize in different things. For example, we're at our beach property right now, and there's a guy here. We are not selling in the beach community, but there's a guy here. He has almost every single listing in the beach condo. So that really works, that approach. Another one in our hometown, we have a couple of agents in Allison James. They are very successful selling luxury homes. And Lisa and I, we personally don't go after that market, but it works if you focus on it. Another agent is very successful doing horse properties. Some other agents are not doing so much marketing, but they are doing just farming in a certain community, and they're having a lot of success in a certain area. Lisa and I do a bunch of other marketing because we go for the retail market. We're on radio, we do TV advertising, a lot of internet and other things, but we don't focus on a specific neighborhood, or we focus on everything between the median price range from 300,000 to 700,000. So we go for the volume. So the other thing is, you might consider, if you're new, joining a successful team where you can either be the listing agent or the buyer's agent, and you don't have to worry about marketing budget or running out of money. And it's successful too, because in our team, pretty much every agent that we have on our team brings home a 6-figure income with net. They don't have any marketing expense. We as a team take care of that. Or if you're very successful, you can start building a team. But I think I recommend that you at least can do 20, 25 transactions by yourself first, because when you build a team, you have to be the leader and you have to lead by example. And building a team, of course, possesses some unique challenges also, but also incredible benefits, because there's no limit to how much income you're making. But building a team, you have to know how to hire the right people, train them, inspire and lead, and hold people accountable. You're basically the chief executive officer. You're the CEO when you're the team leader. So there's a lot of other things. I mean, I can talk for about an hour about this, but those are a few of our points here. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And Doug, again, the same question. What 3 tips would you recommend to agents who are trying to build their real estate business, which helped you build yours?
Well, it sounds like we're all on the same page, and I'm assuming if you went across the country and asked top producers, you know, this same question, you'd get similar answers. But I used to be a school teacher, and at some point I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do forever, and selling real estate, you know, came on my radar. And long before I stopped teaching and, you know, actually had my license, I was actually already out trying to build those connections. So I think spreading the word in terms of letting people know what you're doing, and I'm talking mostly about your sphere, right? People that know you and trust you. And I haven't taught now for 15 years, and I still get a lot of deals just from the teaching community because they know me, they trust me, and it ended up being a really good source of business for me. And I'd say that's probably true for anybody. Anybody stepping into a real estate career without any experience with any other field is probably not going to be successful because, like Troy said, this is about relationships and about finding those people that already know you, you know, and putting that business in your hands. So I would say that's the number one thing is just spread the word. Number two, I think, is really try to be that area expert. When I started in Seattle, there was a couple of key neighborhoods that I really wanted to, you know, jump into and sell real estate. And one of those, for instance, was Green Lake. And Green Lake is a really nice area, kind of outside of downtown, but still pretty affluent. And it's an area that I thought, if I'm the expert there, I can really start to build a good business. So I just networked with every single successful agent in my office. And just ask, what can I do for you? Can I do open houses for you? Can I put flyers out there for you? Anything I could do to try to get in their good graces to try to help build my business, I did. And eventually that kind of turned, right? Now some of those agents were coming to me, hey, Doug, can I hold some of your houses open? So that's the other thing. And then really, I think maybe one of the most important things that I've heard is something I really believe in. And again, Troy said it earlier, which is you have to learn how to work on your business and not just in your business. I think most agents are probably really successful with a transaction. You get a good buyer and you show them properties and they want to make an offer, and that's all great. I think any agent worth anything is going to be able to do that well. But it's that idea of stepping back, and even when things are going great and you've got a few deals in the pipeline, remember to work on the business. And whether that's making your 10 calls a day, whether that's sending those emails out to let people know what you're doing. Whatever it is that you do to build your business, that has to stay steady no matter what. So those are probably the three things I think that I did that started me off to being successful.
Great. Thank you, Doug. So networking is just a huge part of that. Okay, so those were the questions that we had for our top producers. Now we will be able to answer any questions that you have. If you do have any questions, please type those in to the questions box so we will be able to see them. And we do have a few here right now. I'll start off with Lisa and Joran. What are some of the main components that took you from $500,000 a year to over $1 million? What helped bring you to that next level?
Joran, you want to answer?
Yeah, well, 500,000 to $1 million. Well, what we did last year, we did 3.3 million GCI, but then after splits and all that, we ended up around just over $1 million net. That's what we did. But what did we do to grow the business? You have to be very, very careful to hire the right person. You can't just take anybody, and you have to be careful how you pay them out. I hear agents, I'm going to hire a buyer's agent and pay them 80%. You're not going to run a successful business doing that. So you're going to have to be able to hire the right person and train them and have them accountable. And then when it comes to bringing in leads, for us, we were always very good at bringing in leads from internet. So that's the majority of our business now is coming from internet. So and then, you know, motivate them. Lisa talked about it. We do team trips where our team is like a culture. It's like a family. Like just yesterday, they were all here at our beach property, and next week we're in wine tasting, and we bring their whole family, so everybody knows each other, even their spouses and the kids. So it's we haven't lost anybody. Nobody has left our team in 4 years. 4 years ago, we did $15 million. We were a much smaller team. We had like a couple of buyer's agents, and we did 15 million, and then last year we did 4 years later, 125 million. and we hope to do close to 200 million this year. And Lisa and I, go ahead.
But all that stems from setting goals. So all that aside, you don't go from earning $1 to $15 unless you set a goal to reach that $15. So whether you're going from 100,000 to 10 million, you don't reach that goal unless you have them. So and there's a saying, I don't know what it is, but it's, if you can't reach a goal that you don't set. So if the whole point for us is it doesn't matter where we went, where we were before, and where we're going now, we'd never get there if we didn't have goals and then have steps to get there in place.
Exactly. It's all about setting goals.
Mm-hmm.
We have another question here. This is for everyone. Did anyone start with a coach, and do they still have a coach?
We can grab that one. We've actually gone through a couple coaches, and not because we're wringing them out and throwing them away. It's just that there's a different coach for every model. Just like you guys were all talking about earlier when Troy was talking about Tom Ferry, we have different types of coaches. We use a coach for our internal system. We've had a coach for motivating our buyers agents, where it's just a coach for the buyer's agent, and we've had coaches for just the team leader, like running your business. So we've had different coaches, and we are a big believer, like Troy, we are a big believer in coaching. We don't always have them right beside us making us accountable, but we go through like a certain amount of time with them. Like we'll be with one for 6 months, and they'll kind of go back and forth. And just like anything, I think you always need a coach, whether you're in a sport or whether you're in a business. Every great business leader has someone that's beside him. You can't be good at everything. You have to have someone coaching you to be able to reach your goals or work on the things that you need to work on.
A couple of comments to add to that is that one thing that has worked really well for us, I think, is the mini mastermind or networking with other agents, like Lisa said, that are even better than us. And they might be better in certain areas. We're good in certain areas, they are good in other areas, and we sit down, and it works. We were just up in Chicago with another 50 agents from around the country, and we shared everything what we are doing, and they shared what they're doing. Everybody walks away from the room smarter. And often now we are doing some small mini, those are even more productive, where you sit down with 2 or 3 team leaders, and we share everything, how you're running your business, and so we learn a lot from.
And every one of those people that we network with are all coached, often by different people. So we talk about the coaching in that process, and they talk about what coaches work for them, what coaches don't work for them, or what didn't work for them. And then when the coaches, the things they've learned from the coaching, now we're sharing with one another. So you really, even though you're going to a networking event with 10 other agents, you're really getting likely the insight of 10 other coaches. So that's also something.
Perfect. Thank
I
you.
want to jump in here a little bit.
Okay.
It's Troy Funk here. It's interesting because my personal trainer will ask me, Troy, what did you eat today? And my mastermind $1 million self-made group will ask, what did you read today? What are you putting in your mind on a consistent basis that you're learning and growing from? I mean, coaching is just not one person. To me, it's an idea of self-improvement and constantly trying to learn from the experience of other people, and I do try to read as much as I can, and not always from a book. I do watch a lot of YouTube videos on things that are applicable to things that I want to learn, and it's just amazing the wealth of information that's out there right now with technology, and we have such quick access to it. So always in the growth and hunger mood for getting better. It's my focus.
Thank you, Troy. Okay, we have another question here, and I apologize if I am mispronouncing this. Do any of our top producers use Yodel?
I don't. You don't.
No? Okay. So no, the answer to that is no. Let's see, and it looks like we just have one more question here. I am just starting out, and this is a good fit. How would I get signed up? If you are looking to join Allison James, all you need to do is contact Jeff Jabora, our Director of National Growth and Development. You can email him at joinus@ajicorporate.com. Okay, and I believe that's it. Would any of our panelists like to say a closing statement.
No, for us, I'd say if anybody has any questions, like there's a lot of people on this call that I know are in our local market. If any of you have any questions, you just shoot an email to Joran or I. Email is the best method of communication, but sometimes you can't think of the question right off the bat, or you just have something that might be just a local question you don't want to put on the panel. Shoot us an email. We're happy to answer anything.
Yeah, agree with that.
Yeah. I guess Troy Funk here again. One thing I guess I want to say in the closing remarks, I was with RE/MAX for 16 years, and I had opened a Keller Williams office, which turned out to be a mistake, and went back to RE/MAX before Allison James came along, and that was a huge good step in my career, because it gives me the platform to be who I am. You know, without the walls there and the full freedom, we have so many possibilities. And I would just give a good shout out to Allison James and say that was probably one of the best business decisions I think I've ever made.
And a comment there also on that triggered my thought. Lisa and I, we were previously with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage in Temecula, and our last year there was in 2008, and we paid to the broker. That's when I kind of just joined Lisa. $165,000 is what the broker earned in commission. Even though we were at the 90% split, they kept 10%, but they also charged franchise fees and other junk and marketing fees. So we paid them $165,000 that year. The next year we moved over to Allison James and we paid them $3,000 or $4,000. What a difference! So that has allowed us to save a lot of money, invest in real estate, beach property, and other things. It's a big, big factor.
That's huge. Doug, is there anything you would like to close with?
Well, I mean, I think Troy and I are probably more similar on this panel than different, and you know, I know I can speak to the same thing that Troy said, which is, you know, the freedom that I got joining Allison James was huge, and you know, working with Mark Carpenter and Ed and everybody else who just gives us so much support has been really amazing, and they've opened doors for me that I could have never opened myself. You know, I feel really proud of myself and my team for what we've been able to accomplish, but I can honestly say none of those opportunities would have come for me had I not joined Allison James. So, you know, just my own little piece there. I really appreciate working with this type of a company.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, with that being said, thank you everyone for joining us today, and a special thank you to Joran and Lisa Forss, Troy Funk, and Doug Fisher for taking the time to be a part of today's webinar. Thank you everyone, and we hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.